It's drinking the water.
Hi, and thanks for joining me again here at Drinking Bird Media. This video, we're here to talk about the great pandemic of 2020. Not the coof. No, not the coof. The great pandemic I'm talking about is the pandemic of morality, the moral fagging that is crippling our society. Now, unlike the Chinese coof, which we all started paying attention to in January, this pandemic has been spreading unfettered for years now. Now, I'll start with sport, because a lot of people like sport. Now, I also like horse racing. Not so many people like that. But of course, I don't like seeing the horses getting injured. And if you look at the stats and not the crap that certain groups like RSPCA, the Coalition for Protection of Racehorses, or even our very own national broadcaster that we pay for with our taxes, the ABC pedal, you'll find on-track fatalities for racehorses are a tiny percentage of race starters, as in less than 1%. And like running around in paddocks rather than manicured tracks, there's fatal injuries out there too. But every Melbourne Cup, some crod likes to tell me off, and then, they end up insulting me about something completely aside to the argument, and how I laugh because their argument is weak. But this year has seen this pandemic run hand in hand with the COOF, BLM, the US election, and it's out of control. And no social distancing will save it. I watch the NBA and I watch the NFL too. Now, I'll be fair dinkum with you all here. There's a lot of black athletes in those sports, so I understand why they might feel that BLM, for example, is closer to their hearts. I don't care if they kneel, though. They can do what they want. They can do cartwheels. Big deal. As far as I'm concerned, their expertise starts at the start of the game and ends at the end of the game. When they're doing what they're paid to do, run, kick, pass, jump, whatever, they're the best in the world at their field at that. That doesn't transfer to whatever they decide to make an opinion over. But I like sports, so I'll keep watching. But, an example I saw recently on a group that I'm in, NFL Fans Down Under, so an Australian-based group that follows the NFL. Sorry, I just knocked my microphone then. Now, someone posted that a special all-black Colin Kaepernick jersey has been made for the 4-year anniversary of him being a terrible quarterback or something. I don't know. No, I'm just being facetious. We know why. I mean, if you don't know, Kaepernick was the first guy that knelt during the anthem and, had the socks that had, like F the police and all that shit on them. So, yeah, he's a lightning rod. If you're Australian and you follow AFL, maybe Adam Goods-ish we could use as a comparison. I think Goods is a tool too. But like him or not, and I don't, I recognise he had the talent to play top-level AFL for a long time. And he did. And he was a good player. I'm not going to deny that. Kaepernick was a one-trick pony, and once the league worked him out, now you remember NFL, you've got whole teams of coaches and computers and people analysing other players' weaknesses and strengths. They worked him out pretty quick, and he became incredibly ineffective once they worked him out. But there's the usual pro and anti-Kaepernick discussions, the usual pro and anti-police discussions, and one bloke puts up this comment. But the response is what got me. The person underneath has alerted an anti-racism group that basically tries to find out people's personal details, tried to get people fired, all that stuff, the cancel culture. What the hell? We know the NFL is a woke organisation. We know that. But, I watch it for the body hits. But it's disappointing seeing that wokeness infuse into a group of Aussies who originally went there because they liked the silly game the Yanks play wearing helmets. But, we saw Washington drop Redskins from their team name. We also saw a lolly maker in Australia, Allen's, decide to change the name of their long-standing raspberry, tooth-extracting chewy lolly of the same name that I absolutely love. I'm not sure why, seeing as though we're talking an Australian lolly, but then there's this survey too. But of course, that 1 in 10 is the squeaky wheel, and they got the grease. like our coon cheese here, named after the man who refined the particular process. Not a racial slur. But yes, they cave to the mob too. So look out if you invent something and your surname is something that could be interpreted as a racial slur. I mean, these days, white is enough. So, you might have to change your name before you become famous, because that's the direction the moral mob is heading. Another one. We had horrible bushfires around my local area over summer. Many locals lost their life's worth of possessions and homes, and sadly a couple of firefighters lost their lives in the battle. A beautiful little monument has been created for them, which is lovely and well deserved. These men are heroes. Someone posted on a notice board, and some poor sod asked who were these people and what did they do. And they were met with a response of, if you're a local and you don't know who these people are, take a look at yourself. Excuse me? What? I'm sorry, I'm a long-time local. I don't know the name of every person that's made a contribution to this town. Doesn't mean I respect their heroic efforts any less, so you can shove your moral fagging. But let's look at it a bit wider. Let's look at BLM. Now, I refer to BLM as Bitchute murder. And it actually saddens me a bit, because I've got no doubt at all that when this movement started, its intentions were pure. Its intentions were pure, but it's become hijacked. And first of all, I'll state this unequivocally. Unjustified homicide by police should be dealt with more harshly than homicide by a citizen. We put our faith in the cops. They're meant to protect us. So if they're found guilty of any wrongdoing, the law should come down on them 10 times harder, 100 times harder than any normal civilian. But a drug addict dies being restrained. I'll admit, apparently cruelly restrained, and someone films it, and America starts burning. Of course, the body cam footage that's being used in the court case shows him taking the drugs which led to his death, possibly, as the first autopsy suggested. But the media and social media, well, that all seems to have got lost in the wash. Surprise, surprise. And the rapist shot 7 times by the cops moving to his car while on his victim's property. This is a tragedy? This is worth burning down shops for? No, it's not. It's idiots getting what they deserve. The victim of the rapist, her auntie tweeted she wished they shot him 50 times or something, and she gets banned. While the social media companies continue to champion false victimhood BLM narratives. Once again, no judgment here, but I've been in contact with a couple of Americans that I know. And according to them and their knowledge of the local areas, that young lad that, shot a couple of rioters has a very strong self-defense case. But, whereas we see people put up crowdfunders for their legal action and all that, for this guy, no. Facebook's a no-no. No, you can't even express support for him. You create a group supporting him, they'll ban it. Doesn't seem fair to me, does it? Especially when, there's been no verdict found. Facebook's playing judge, jury, and executioner. And this is the biggest problem of this moral pandemic. The social media companies are the biggest moral fags of the lot, bending the knee to whatever cause they think is appropriate. It's always woke. But, we've just had a whistleblower Chinese scientist release information about the coof, and whoosh, she's deleted from social media. And let's be real, probably by the Chinese soon enough too. Why? Because she went against the story. Now, whether or not information was accurate or not is beside the point. There's no doubting her credentials. She's no doubting she worked in one particular laboratory that has access to information that 99.9% of the world's population doesn't. So, so why the ban? I know why. Because not fitting the narrative that the social media companies want to push. It was ruled in a court that as president, Donald Trump could not block people on Twitter as he is a figure of public importance. I agree with that decision, to be honest. I think, like the president, prime minister, your local representative should not be able to stick their fingers in their ears and go la 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 if they hear something that they don't like. So, okay, that's fair enough. But Trump tweeted a video of some doctors talking about the potential benefits of hydroxychloroquine and zinc to treat the coof. And Twitter blocked that. Twitter blocked an elected official's message. Now, I think this is the actions of a hypocrite company, and personally, I'm not real comfortable with that. I'm not real comfortable with the idea of some neck-bearded chin-stroker who we all know is politically probably close to, there's left, but then there's far left. Close to the far left, who's deciding what messages we, the public, can hear from our elected officials. Seems wrong to me. And, they're always getting caught out with doctored footage, and then you find the real footage, and then you realise that it's all that they've just spun it a particular way. So, yeah. But, the fact that they did that is just, it's wrong. But, of course, they have their foot soldiers. You've seen them. You've engaged with them on a news article or something. You've dared to suggest that maybe we could manage the coof a little differently so people can have fun and go to work and stuff. And no doubt someone will think you just want to kill Granny. Someone will question your expertise, but you see, you don't need a qualification to have an opinion. You can refer to expertise. You can be confronted with expertise that may change your mind, and step right. If you're in a discussion and you see some overwhelming evidence that completely destroys your point, you might have to take the L. But you're allowed an opinion. It's how it should be. I sometimes call on mine when entering a debate. So not for anything else. Like I said, it's been, it was a lifetime ago I was involved in research and virus modelling and stuff. But it can shape the discussion, at least in a certain direction, fact-based direction rather than an emotion-based one, which, is how I like to talk. But there are people protesting against lockdowns, and again, I'm not here to pass judgment on that. There are some curious things about the lockdowns in particular. Based on my own scientific history, I think curfews are a bit weird because, forcing everyone out within a certain amount of time leads to larger crowds. So, you get what I mean? But, anyone who, people who have dared to push a lot harder against the lockdowns than what I would do, they're having their personal information revealed. They're being piled on, not just by people on social media, by the media. By, you're watching newscasters referring to citizens as idiots. You might think they're an idiot, but I don't think that's the role of the newscaster. But, and they're being piled on. Their businesses are being dive-bombed with negative reviews by people who have never set foot in the shop. Just because they don't like their ideas, they'll give them a 1 star on Yelp. And that's disgusting. Now, this is a little update from when I first did my outline for this video, because once again, the coof cloud has descended upon my little town in the last 24 hours. We have received news of a potentially infectious visitor 7 days ago. Of course, that led to about 8 million moral fags posting the same New South Wales health update on the notice boards, so there's plenty of fodder, but I've chosen this individual who has had their moral fag, caught some different opinion, including mine. I told them to get off their high horse. And they've responded to all those different comments, and then stopped replies. Wow. Although not really. And of course, they've shifted to a passive-aggressive personal page post with just a touch of the Grettas.
How dare you!
Of course, we know the coof is dangerous to a specific set of individuals in our communities. But like I said, things are still evolving. If the precursors of other scientific discoveries are any guide, the best way forward with the coof will come from a fringe, not from the main body of work. For example, there are doctor surgeries in town where some are full on about wearing masks, Remember, at the moment, even after this scare, still no active cases here. And some doctors are a little more relaxed. I know the doctors behind all these policies. I've been around here a long time, and they're all doctors I would have no problem sending a sick, critically ill relative to for treatment. They're excellent doctors, but they've got a slightly different opinion about the coof. And the further you go into the scientific field, the research, you find more divergences of opinion. Now, if social media heard about my masks are a maybe doctor, they'd probably ban him too. And last time I checked, Zuckerberg, who runs Facebook, Jack, who runs Twitter, and Susan, who runs YouTube, aren't doctors. So what can we do? Well, here's what I do. But there's more to it than that. In my opinion, this pandemic won't be easily defeated, but it's not that bad. There will be casualties. The casualties will be your employment and some social and family strains possibly, but I don't think these will be permanent and you should recover. But we have to stop this. As you just saw, I like to laugh. It makes them mad and it makes them less coherent. And the stupider they look, the more fun you'll have, and you'll probably swing more people to your side of the discussion. I said the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, maybe now it's time for those people who oppose this to become squeaky wheels, and we'll get some grease too. These moral fags aren't in the majority, but they've become infested in hive-minded big companies and politics that like to chest beat about how virtuous they are while still buying stuff from China, taking advantage of bad labour laws, etc., etc. So just more hypocrisy. Now, I'm about to close out, but while we're on morality, there's a show on Netflix that has been getting some heat for its portrayal and sexualisation of children. Fair enough too. But at the same time, I've always preferred to let the market work these things out. But I think it's pretty off. And as much as I agree with the ability for people to express themselves creatively however they wish, little kiddies twerking is, I think, a moral line that a lot of us would draw the line at and go, that's not artistic expression, that's exploitation. So I'd have no qualms if it was pulled off the air. I might be just a fraction more sympathetic if they did what they did in Beverly Hills 90210. I think there was like a 32-year-old actress playing a 16-year-old. So, these are adult actors and actresses. So, they can make informed choices about whether or not they want to be part of the project. We've all got our own line. Our own line of what's right or what's wrong. But, I think overall, most people are inherently good. Inherently good. Sure, some of their morals might be a bit free and easy somewhere, and you might not necessarily agree with them. But when it jumps from being your own choice, like not watching that terrible Netflix show, to telling other people what you should be concerned about, what you should be worried about, when they've got no more standing than you, that's my line. Okay, guys, cheers. Thanks, like and subscribe, and if you have any friends who might enjoy my content, then share. Remember, I'm on Bitchute too, because they're actually pretty free about what you post, and as you can probably tell if you've watched a couple of these videos, I'm not shy of thumbing my nose at the bigger social media companies and video sharing companies, even though they do sort of hold us with a gun to our head, because, they choose to eject us from polite society, if need be. But, if need be, according to them, sorry. But guys, thanks for watching. Remember, not everything you hear is the truth, but it's not all a lie either. And have a great day, stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you again real soon. See you everyone, bye-bye.